All right, fellas, it's Corona Day. Come on down and get you some Corona. Well, look what the mailman left for me. This one's mine. Bought and paid for. There's my receipt. It's my Hammer 50. I say thank you, Chad Simon at Lethal Air. He had a early deposit 6-8 months ago, which I did. It finally came in. This one's mine. It's not a loaner. And so it's mine, guys. So anybody that says, oh, Mr. Hollopoint, you know, whose gun is that? I say, it's Mr. Hollopoint's. So thank you, Chad, Lethal Air. We're going to put this through the numbers, guys. We'll open it up, see what's inside, and have some fun. Now, since this is stock, right from the company, no add-ons, no different features, I can see what it's like right from the factory, and then we can look at putting on suppressors and other things like that. So come along and let's do some original testing. So, out of the box, this is what it looks like. I'll see if we can zoom in and show you this a little bit better. Okay, there's the hammer. It's in a plastic bag. It's got the styrofoam protectors. There's a hole in this hunk of foam and the slice in this for the stock to go into. It's pretty well beefed. And of course this box is inside a bigger box. Here's the magazine. Okay, I only got one, that's all I need. And paperwork. And we'll take it from there. So that's it out of the box. Now, since we've already played and tested one of these a couple of videos ago from my good friend James, I don't have to do a lot of the beginning stuff. Now, it does have a nice big desiccant package there in the bag to help keep the rust down. I do believe Chad went through this before he shipped it to make sure it was holding air. It looks like it has 1500 psi. And it does actually have a magazine with it, so we have 2 magazines. Thank you very much. We'll look at some of the details. I will tell you, if you go to YouTube, they have a whole bunch of little 2-minute and 5-minute videos explaining the setup on how to do things. Okay, so out of the box, like I said, I'm saying, you can go to YouTube, and there's a whole bunch of little videos to show the recommended filling, loading, how all the bits and pieces work. Like this is the screw that locks the hammer bolt in place. So you take the mag out, you know, full cocking when you pull it back, how all the pieces and parts function. So we're going to set this up. I'm going to throw the Picatinny rails on, get the scope on it. This is as is from the factory, so it doesn't have Donnie's adapter or any suppressor. So I'm going to keep my shooting to a minimum, otherwise the cats may stroke out on me. And I'm going to do a lot of testing and see, you know, what we can do. You know, I'm an average Joe. If I can break it, you can break it. If I can shoot it, you can shoot it. That's pretty much my philosophy. 4,500 PSI, 310 bar maximum. So we will start to play with this. All right. So that's as much as I can tell you excitement-wise so far from Corona Central. Corona. So, if you remember from the first video, I like putting an M-lock on here for the bipod. I'm not a big okay. Which one of these wrenches fit? There we go. I'm not a big bipod shooter because I really have poor marksmanship, but I like having a bipod for propping the gun up. I never like laying an air rifle on its side, or any gun of that matter. I like setting it up. I think it keeps it out of the dirt, looks better, and is a bit more respectful of you know, the money you've invested in it. You know, you wouldn't throw your woman down in the dirt, I guess, unless you're a mud wrestler. So I'm not going to throw my gun down in the dirt. So that's the M-lock. So we can put on a bipod. These are high quality bipods I use. Almost a full $7 out of China. So it does the job of keeping it up off the ground, and that's really all I care about. The other thing, get this over here, you can look at, is you do have a brass screw hole here. So I believe that's for putting, you can put a rubber plug or something, so, you know, an adjustable piece, so it's not, if you are shooting without a bag and just a bipod, it's not resting flat on, this isn't going to be resting flat on, this isn't going to be resting flat on the ground. That's something I need to look into. Not super necessary. Of course, pistol grip, if you pull this plug out, that's just hollow to get into the screw. I guess you could store something in there, some money or asthma medicine or Viagra, whatever you happen to need at the time. So that is it. Bear with me, guys. All right. Now let's flip it. Flip it good. Da, 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 da. You can flip it. Da, 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 da. Flip it good. All right. So there it is sitting in. And I believe you can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think, if I remember correctly, this is what I had for the setup. I think it was this one with the, you can see my thumb here from last week's accident. Yeah, I believe I had it like this so I could see through the scope on the table. I think that was it. I'll look at my paperwork. So that's the old ATN. And then I got to figure out where to put the laser, because I always like having the laser on there. So that would be probably this guy here. Oh, there goes the Allen wrench. Excuse me, guys. I'm all butterfingers here with my thumb. There we go. This one just fits. And as I said in my previous video, this was a 3-piece M-lock kit for not much, $11 or something on Amazon. Came with a Naked Lady air freshener. Alright, that's all locked in. The other thing I'm possibly thinking of is to change the laser setup to have one that comes off here and sits on the side. I've ordered something to play with and see if I like that better versus having one right here. But, you know, as closest to the barrel as possible is what I always like. I'm just concerned when I flop it in a bag, if it's sticking out, it's going to get tilted or squished. Sorry about that. I know I walked away for a bit, but kind of something, you know, like this, where it's a shelf with a drop down. So this would kind of be hanging like this, you know. But this is for the Tacticam, but you get the idea. I haven't found a full 90-degree drop down Picatinny. I'm sure they have them. That would be nice like that. But until then, we're going to do that. And that slides on, and then I just got to tighten it down, and we'll be good to go. I think in the previous video I had it on the other side of the air rifle, but I don't think it makes much of a difference at the moment. I'm tightening the laser down. I rotated the bracket, switched it so it's facing up. I need to tighten the scope. I've also noticed that based on how tight you've got these, like anything, that can change your point of aim by a fraction. So that's tight, that's tight. Something else I noticed is this shroud is tight. I believe that's a free-floating barrel inside. To unscrew it, you know, you got to turn the whole thing, and then you can. It'll start to, the barrel and everything will start to unscrew. It should be tight because it's a free-floating setup. So we'll keep that as tight as it came from the factory. And we'll see how it performs and how it functions. I don't think there's anything else I can tell you at the moment that I haven't shared before. So put the old, charge it up and put the old ear protectors on. So here are our test subjects for today. The 345 through the 525. All of these fit in the magazine. Anything else I have is a bit too long. A lot of power. So, gentlemen, I put in my numbers from the last time I was shooting a hammer into the scope. Profile setting number 1. I put on my ear protectors. And see how this first shot goes. All the way forwards, all the way forwards. Wow. That was a huge numbing blast of air coming up through the hand. Okay. So you don't want to have your hand like this. .345, 4500. So this is a 345. Better than what we started with. The 445 ribbed. So the first 3 shots were here, and then shot 4 went off to the right. Interesting. Give me 1 second here. Okay, this is the 450 grain. Shot 1, 2, 3, and 4. The 4th one always seems to go to the right. All right. Okay, this is the 475 snub nose. So it was shot 1, 2, 3, and then 4 was over here. Don't know why. Okay, this is the 515. So there was 1, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is the 525. Shots 1, 2, and 3, and then there's 4. .345, 4500 psi. Shot number 2, 3400 psi. Three. Number 4. Okay, much tighter. That is what we're talking about. So, gentle folks, I'm finding, now this is just me, okay, but I'm finding that the heavier slugs seem to perform better out of the hammer. Even though we've got some faster speeds going with the lighter slug, the accuracy is a little more opened up than I would like. The 385 is pretty sweet, but the heavier slugs, the 445, 475, and 525 seem to really do a nice group and gave me the better, heavier foot-pounds of energy. Now we need to get this out to the long, out the long distance and see how they really open up at, 50, 60 yards. But at the moment, 4 shots, one, 2, and 3 being the best, but we did number 4 just to see if she would dump. or if we're having issues, and we're holding pretty good all the way across the board. Of course, 4-shot isn't something I would normally do. I'd really only do the first 2 with the loaded mag. But as we're testing everything, we're trying to give it a thorough test. So that is it with the nice yield chart. I did that myself. Thank you very much. So this is a brand new hammer that I got in the mail. I paid for it. Showed you the receipt. Now, as you guys know, the first guns have had some issues. Even the one that I was testing in the previous videos had some issues, and I had to go back for repairs. I will say that Umarex is going out of their way to fix the problems, to fix the issues as many times as it takes. So they're coughing up for the freight to you and back and forth and back and forth. You can't say any better than that. They're going out of their way to do what they need to do to make it correct. One of the things that we've learned is this carbon fiber shroud needs to be as tight as it can be. So when you get it in, you know, give it a crank. I do remember on the previous guns that I played with that the shroud was loose. And I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, but barrel harmonics, dealing with this since it's kind of a free-floating barrel, because it's only anchored really here in the breech. So this carbon fiber tube helps center the barrel with the plug, keeping everything tight. So it needs to be tight, otherwise it's just going to be flopping like a donkey in the wind. So again, I don't know the proper terms. This is just my first initial inspection of what's going on now that we've had some time from the previous to this. So far we've taken 4 shots, lightweight, well, really a midweight bullet up to heavy. I'm not doing the real lightweight stuff. I think that heavy slugs is where you're getting the best air to weight ratio with the hammer. It's 510 diameter bullet. So this needs to be tight. I've tried filling the different weights, and I'm finding it actually the first shot seems to be the best at the 4,500 psi, and then the second shot and the third shot. And you've seen on the chart, the average usage is shot number 1 4,500, shot number 2 is 3,400, and shot number 3 is 26 to 25. So it's always 100 psi, give or take, from what you're looking on the gauge. And the last shot's around 1,800 psi, and then it always ends around 1,300 to 1,400 psi after the 4 shots. That seems to be the ballpark of usage. The issues, the only issue I've had so far with this is a couple of times when I cocked it, the magazine didn't cycle. You know, it didn't pop into the next spot. And I wound up doing a dry fire a couple of times, not realizing because I wasn't paying attention. But I think the more you use this, the easier that, because it's brand new, those mags are stiff, they'll slide a little bit easier. The other thing is I've noticed is you not put your hand here like some of the bench resters sit like this. Don't do that, because that side burst of air literally blew my hand up, hit me in the face, and it was numb. I mean, numb. You're 1,000 psi coming through there, and just whatever the venting, how it vents, it, you know, it gave me a good scare there. I was surprised. So I'm not saying anything's bad. I'm just sharing with you everything that's going on. So don't make the same mistakes I make. Don't put your hand over like this when you're shooting, okay? Everything else seemed to be flawless. Like before, you know, the previous versions that I played with, I was having issues. This one, everything seems to be functioning perfect. I said, don't count Umarex out of the park. they're doing what they can to correct issues, and I'm really happy with that. The next thing I have to look at is getting a muffler on the end of this and seeing how it's doing, plus getting out to 60, 70 yards and seeing which bullets are going to hold the best shot pattern. So one of the things I said earlier, the term barrel harmonics. When you tighten your shroud, of course it's gripping the end plug. Okay, you want it to be tight, but don't torque it so much you start trying to crack or break something. I suggest taking a marker or something and just put it, like a Sharpie or something, just put a spot right there on your shroud. This way it's indexed, so if you do unscrew it and screw it back on later, you're going to have it at the same spot each time. Because in a free-floating setup, this indexing situation will help you bring it back. See, I had just gotten everything sighted in. I knew exactly where each bullet was hitting. I've loosened, pulled the shroud off, wiped it down, put it back on, and my index spot is different, and I am shooting at least 3 inches to the left now. So indexing is a very important situation. Otherwise, you can be all over the road. I may be using the improper terminology for this, but someone can correct me, but I think that's an important thing to know. And with a free-floating setup, again, if that's even the proper term, everything always has to be put back to the way it was. So that's my tip for the day. Index your setup, so that way when you're getting it back, you can be right at the same point that you were before. So that's it, guys. Wrapping the testing phase here up on part 1 of my gun. Some great foot-pounds of energy. Whatever they're doing in the factory, they're really making the effort, because this gun has a lot more speed. I'm getting 4 shots. It's not dumping on me. All the issues from before seem to be fixed, so I'm really excited about that. I think everybody deserves the chance to correct any mistakes they make before you throw them under the bus. So again, thank you. Again, thank you, Chad Simon. I bought this from Chad Simon at Lethal Air. So you guys want to know where? Hey, that's where I got the gun. I paid for it. You've seen the receipt. So don't give me any more garbage about getting free stuff. And I'm trying to just be a kiss ass to keep people happy. I shoot it, you shoot it. You should get the same results that I get. Umarex, thank you for the hammer. No, I paid for it. And that's really all we got to say for now. Part 1 of segment 6 over with. Anything I can think of, I will put in the next video. We just have to get outside, where there's no coronavirus, and we can do some stuff. So with that being said, 700 foot-pounds is enough to kill anything in North America, so we're good on that respect. ATN, you're not a paid sponsor, but you should be, because I really use your scopes, and I talk about it all the time. That's a shameless plug for Mr. Hollow Point. And again, if you're not shooting pure awesome through your hammer, you're just not being awesome. And it should be an awesome day.